The White Sox Phantom series continues while I'm on vacation. I talked with my guest about how great White Sox content creation and social media world is next on Lockdown White Sox.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm your host, Todd Welter, a lifelong Sox fan and the site expert of Southside Showdown, part of the Fansided Network. You can check out my written content at SouthsideShowdown.com, and also I've covered Major League Baseball for outlets such as the Associated Press. And thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox. Also follow or subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as the playoffs wind down. The sports stop sportsing like we want them to, but this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Okay, so I'm on vacation, but before I took off for my trip, I recorded a series of interviews diving into the Sox fandom world. And the third part of the series explores how Missy Carroll of Sports Mockery created a social media and content creation brand around the Chicago White Sox. And more importantly, we discussed the strong Sox social media world and the fan community that has sprung up from it. Also, this was recorded before the trade deadline completed, the 23-game losing streak, and the firing of Pedro Grifol. So there's a reason if you hear something, that type of stuff being discussed, it was because I recorded before that time. That's just how our schedules matched up. So let's get into my interview with Missy Carroll. All right, Missy, thanks for joining me. So I just want to get right out of the gate. How does one build a social media brand around the Chicago White Sox?
It's hard. You had to probably have jumped in at the right time, to be honest. I jumped in at 2022 is when I made my switch over to Twitter and to sort of the White Sox social media sphere. And I think that was a great time because we had so much hope. And I think that's kind of why I'm still here today, because I was so solidified. But in terms of starting it now, you got to be really creative and you got to be really, really good to find different angles, to find ways to nitpick stuff so that it keeps people's minds moving. They're entertained or anything, get any reaction out of anyone that isn't kind of even hateful, you know? So yeah, I'd say it's really hard now, but it was a little easier when we thought this team was going to be great.
Well, especially in 2022 when you had that tension of, okay, they're underachieving and then they're going to break through. They're going to break through. And then they just never did. And you had all the Tony La Russa material. That must have been some great times to create material compared to today.
Oh, that was great. Because at least we still had we didn't see the future yet. We still had a glimmer of maybe we're just got a down year or something. So no one was completely checked out, but I had a lot of fun with the Tony material. Oh, that was great. Yeah.
So what goes into the method of you creating White Sox content?
So I think it starts with, I look at the news for the day. When something comes out, I immediately think of different ways to spin it. Sort of like a new, either a way people haven't thought of it, try and get a rise out of people making a joke or like stating the obvious in a funny way. Because I think that gives people a better feeling when they see my content rather than seeing over and over someone just like sadly analysis of what's going on in the team, which there are accounts there who are dedicated to doing that. And we thank them because that's a thankless job to go through it every day. But in terms of keeping people like interested in the team in any aspect, I just try and get some emotion out of them and how I spin things. I'm really grateful. I'm working for Sports Mockery now. They have adopted Southside behavior. So their team of writers are awesome. And I'm never running out of stuff to talk about now because they always put out something that I could always take and just kind of reiterate what they're saying or kind of spin it so that people, get the different like ideas flowing in them, just anything entertaining or unique. Because when you're not good, it's really hard to give anyone a little bit of like joy coming on social media for this team.
So how do you and Mitch, and I know Shy Sox fan Mike and you guys actually do a really good job of keeping sports mockery Sox material focused and not clickbaity, where I'm
Yeah.
going to admit it. One of your guys on the Bears beat, for example, has blocked me for no reason because I used to work for, I write for the Windy City, but you
Yeah.
kind of have an idea of where I'm getting at. The Bears content seems a little bit more clickbaity-ish, more that, like, how do you guys keep it just, fresh and, hey, we're not clickbaity. We're here to give content.
Yeah,
I really like that
that's
about
not my
the content.
department. The Bears department, you're gonna have to talk to my bosses.
But I just
No,
want to say,
but
you guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you guys do a good job of keeping it. Hey, let's keep
yeah,
doing
no,
Fox content and that. So how do you guys do that on a daily basis?
yeah. So I think it's a different experience being a White Sox fan too. I feel like we've been stripped down of so much that it's like there is no way to clickbait anything, and also you can't fool White Sox fans with clickbait. That's just I don't think we don't operate that way. Um, we can spot clickbait. We can spot when something's being spun for someone, and it's not being very partisan. We could tell. I mean, as a Sox fan, you could tell off of the title of an article. And I think what's great about the sports mockery White Sox writers, especially like Mike and Mitch, is that they just tell you straight up what this article is about, and we'll click it and read it. I don't think we even need clickbait. I think just they write so well too that you want to click it and read what they have to say. I think that's pretty much it. I think just our fan base is a lot different. We're not easily swayed by clickbait, and when we do see clickbait, we kind of question what was the motive behind hyping up like an Andrew Vaughn like piece or something, or like it's kind of weird. Why would they, tell us straight up Andrew Vaughn's this or something like that? But yeah, I think we don't try and like benefit off of clickbait from White Sox fans because you can't.
No, I agree. Like I remember one time when I was running, how I run Sox Southside Showdown, I was like, man, I want to write about like how ridiculous it is. Like the Sox should pursue Juan Soto, even though it's like we're just not. And I think the title I picked was like 2 reasons why they're not gonna go after Juan Soto. I'm more kind of that. Like some people were like, well, because Jerry's not going to spend it. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. I want you to read into the content and let's have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
How do you guys go about starting conversations within the Sox social media world? Because sometimes,
Oh my god. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a little rough. I feel like there's always so many, like I say, factions of White Sox Twitter and just the social media sphere of White Sox because um, there's a lot of people who are all in different stages of accepting our situation right now. So I tend to go about it where if I do say something that kind of I know is going to elicit a lot of strong feelings in response, I try and dial back my responses and try and make them just like, very lighthearted or like, don't get so caught up in your feelings. I think that helps everyone ground themselves a little because you can get so caught up in the sports social media sphere where you like forget for a minute like the real life implications of all this and what actually goes down and how, especially during trade season, how business works. And I think I just go about it very lightheartedly. And I think, and still seriously, I still like have legit thoughts, but I try and go about it lighthearted so that more people, who aren't like very serious about, chiming in, don't know everything, but have an opinion, feel fine to like jump in replies or tweet back or something. Because I think it gets a little hostile. And as long as I frame it in an inviting way and kind of even like a little joking way, people can come in and, give their 2 cents on it too. And I try to keep that vibe because there's not a lot of places on White Sox social media anywhere that has kind of that vibe where you feel invited to reply, not like you are so mad you have to reply.
All right, quick timeout here to take a quick break, but more with Missy Carroll takes place next on Locked On White Sox. All right, so I'm on a family vacation right now, and I'm kicking myself for not using Ibotta because I need all the cash I can get to afford this trip. With Ibata, you get cash back with all your purchases. Ibata is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. Earn hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibata user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or that fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much. With Ibotta, you earn cash back that you can withdraw to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Simply add offers in the app, upload your receipt, and voila, the money is yours. You can save You can save on over 2,400 brands and shop over 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores: Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. It's time you joined over 50 million users who use Ibotta to earn cash back every time they shop. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. So just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or the App Store. Use code LOCKEDONMLB. And I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want, and all I have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Say you're done with playing the White Sox, and you want to move over to the Chicago Bears. FanDuel has the Bears at plus 330 to win the division, minus 110 to make the playoffs, and a fun prop bet at plus 1,400 of the Bears to score at least one plus field goal in every regular season game. Long shot, I know, but you could throw $5 on it and for some fun. And if it hits, hey, you just won $70. That's what my buddy on the text chain does to make game days that much more fun. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. And thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen today. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On MLB podcast. Host Paul Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, is here daily to provide national expertise with his trademark humor to help you get ready for the MLB playoffs. Here in the dog days of summer, prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And the White Sox continue a 3-game home series tonight with the New York Yankees. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m. Central. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. And welcome back to Locked On White Sox. I'm your host, Todd Welter. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox. Also follow or subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. So let's jump back into my conversation with Missy Carroll about the great White Sox social media community and her current content creation around the Sox. Yeah, like that's the community I'm trying to create here, on the YouTube page or on Locked On Sox. Like I generally try to be nice. Like I'm not trying to be fake on that. I do try to be nice, but like I look at it as if you're a troll that comes in unannounced, like that's like basically like if I knocked on your door, came into your house, grabbed a beer, got on your couch, messed it up, and been like, whoa, why are you mad at me like that? Like, I think you do a great job handling the trolls, especially what you've been doing recently is like, the body positive image on that. How is it to be a female basically covering sports? And then if somebody's like, well, you're just a girl, what opinions are you? Like, I think you handle that very well. How do you go about that?
So I've always been in a male-dominated field. Before I switched over in college to advertising, I was in electrical engineering for 4 years. So I've always felt confident in male-dominated spaces just because I never looked at myself as different. So a lot of times I have to lock in and remember that people still have those biases against women in a male-dominated field. And I think because I've heard it for so long and because it's almost expected that I'm just kind of like, you don't realize how it sounds so silly to me. So I just treat them like silly, and I'm just like, I'll get my point across, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to be like, do you hear how silly, like how stupid you sound? Like, it's not, what year are you in? Like, this is just how it is now. And it's for the better. It's for the better that there are women in the sphere. I think it adds so much more perspective to stuff. I think we all probably, a lot of women growing up that love baseball and write about baseball probably had a little bit of a different time than saying than a boy being raised into baseball. I could tell you it's different between me and my brother, how we talk about baseball and everything. And I just think at the end of the day, I'm like, it's just really, you just sound very stupid. So I'm just going to make you feel stupid, kind of dunk on them back, troll on them too. Because it's like, I try not to feed into it and tell them off. I'll kind of be more sassy and just be like, you sound ridiculous.
Well, in the Sox social media world, I think you, what is it, Maddie from Sox on 35th, and Lizzie, you guys handle a lot, and I think you handle it with grace and dignity, and I like when you're saying making bad points, because, for example, I try to not jump down somebody's throat if they're making decent points. I'll have a conversation, but if you're making bad points, I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey. Is that the way you feel too?
Sometimes I'm like, I won't outright say it, but I will be like, send like a picture back, like, what the hell? Like, all right, sure. And just kind of, because I'm like, if I think it's outrageous, I try to hear everyone out. I think probably the same way. I try to hear everyone out. I try to look at it from your way. But if it's something just out of left field, I'm like, all right, well, let's pack that up. Let's pack that reply up.
Yeah.
Let's try again tomorrow, because that wasn't it.
Yeah, like that. It's just on there. One of the things that I thought was really neat was you were on CHGO with Herb Lawrence, and you told a great story about your background with the Chicago White Sox. Can you please share that with the Locked On White Sox audience? How did you become a Sox fan? You got a neat family story, and this is a series about fandom, so I would just love for you to share that with the Locked On White Sox audience.
Yeah, sure. Kind of forgot what parts I said, but I remember, when I was growing up, just beginning, So just my whole family has been Sox fans through and through. My dad always tells me stories about going to Old Comiskey and then New Comiskey. When he was growing up, he would tell me like he'd run into his sisters like in the guy's bathroom for some reason there, because the girls' bathroom line was so long. They'd skip in, and he was just like, it was just chaos. It was just our whole family was running around there. They'd be like, why are you here? And he'd be like, did you tell mom you were here? Like, it's just a part of our kind of history. We always loved the Sox. I've known it since I was little, from when we won the World Series. I was 6, so I couldn't really remember anything. But I do remember everyone was out, and it was just me and my mom folding laundry, watching the White Sox, which she always tells me thanks for including her in my story. But yeah, it was just something, it was just part of my life. I thought I was going to grow up with a great team, but I was mostly in rebuild most of my life. Yeah. And I think what really solidified, I'm not sure if I said it there, but did I talk about the bullpen, the Octavio Hotel?
No, I don't know if you did.
Oh, okay. Okay. So a big reason why I always give my fandom to none other than Octavio Hotel is when I was like 9-ish, it was 2008. So I had to been 8 or 9. I was there for my dad's work event. It's the easiest place to take your family when we were growing up. It was just so affordable for 4 kids and then my 2 parents. It was just awesome. Spent all my summers there. And so for his work outing, that's what they would do. They'd get a section in left field behind the bullpen, and we'd sit there. I wasn't really interested in watching the game so much because I'm just like, I don't know, maybe so far away, not really getting it. So I would always stand by the bullpen and just watch them. That was before security was a jerk about standing over there. So, I just watched them the whole game. And then about the 7th or 8th, my mom was like, all right, you got to come back up. You got to eat and stuff. And then on my way up, someone tapped me and was like, look down there. And Octavio Hotel waved me down to the side of the bullpen and signed a ball. And he's like, I noticed you were standing there all game. Are you having fun? And I was like, oh my God, this is a celebrity. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And then he went in and he blew the game for us. But I think that is the epitome of what my White Sox fandom is I'm really sentimental towards it. At the end of the day, I'm kind of prepared to be disappointed.
Yeah.
But it was, that's kind of where my roots started. It's been family. It's been a part of me forever. Very sentimental piece of me, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to say this. I'm a little jealous because when I was 6 years old, the White Sox traded Harold Baines in 1980, like 8-9. That was like my first year of heartbreak. So when I had already gotten my heart broken as a 6-year-old, you got to like at the highest of the highs as a 6-year-old.
I know. I
So-
came out like on top, and now my whole life I've just been like, well, what are we ever gonna have that again? I came out 2 on top.
Yeah, but at least you have some conscious memories. I was,
Yeah.
okay, and I'm really aging myself. I was 3 years old in 1985, so I don't even remember anything about the Chicago Bears. So I'm still one of those guys that is like, please win a Super Bowl. Please, for the love of gosh.
That's how I feel. I'm like, I mean, I got the after effects of how awesome it was to be a White Sox fan, but I never experienced it consciously, like being a fan. You know what I mean? Like I was just existing there. I didn't realize how important it was to me and how important it would be to me at 24, 25 right now.
All right, another quick timeout here, but after the break, more social media and White Sox content creation talk with Missy Carroll next on Locked On White Sox. Order supplies from the website that's made for the skilled trades. Find thousands of parts from hundreds of brands in just a couple clicks at SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com gives you 24/7 access to a huge selection of plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with fast delivery anywhere in the U.S. Need help with an order? Get industry-leading after-sales service from their friendly and knowledgeable customer support team and talk to a real person every time. And there's great news for plumbers, technicians, and contractors. Being a pro has its perks. Trade industry professionals can join their free TradeMaster program for free shipping and serious discounts on every order. Over 100,000 pros already trust the TradeMaster program to deliver results. Apply for your membership today and get a competitive edge on every order at supplyhouse.com/TM. Save time and money when you order online. Order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. And the White Sox continue a 3-game home series tonight with the New York Yankees. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m. Central. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. And welcome back into Locked On White Sox. I am your host, Todd Welter. And again, shout out to all my everydayers, the guys and gals who stick with me throughout the entire show. Hopefully you're enjoying this. I know talking about social media can sometimes be a little bit boring or a little bit, I don't get it, or look, Twitter or X, whatever they're calling it these days, is a cesspool. But the Sox social media community is pretty neat, especially on X, formerly Twitter. And let's just jump back into my conversation with Missy Carroll talking about that. No, I totally get you on that, because like I was even talking to the last Comiskey, Matt Flesh, about a lot of the Comiskey. He's in this series as well, and we were talking about like the Andy Hawkins non-no-hitter game where he threw basically 8 innings of no-hit ball and the Sox still won. I was at that game. That bat behind me, I got that, but like I still don't remember like every little detail like some of these other people are. So it's kind of crazy like that. How would you describe the current state of White Sox fandom?
Oh my God, in shambles. Like I said, I think everyone's on different ways of the spectrum of where they accept our situation. And I think a lot of people are confused on what to do about it. I think a lot of people just are like, it is what it is. I'm here for the long run. This has been my life. What am I going to do? Give up now? Like, some part of it being like, what did I expect? This was my team. And then a lot of people who are just up in arms and are straight up like leaving and saying, call me when you guys are serious. And then I also see like casuals, like I work at a gym, so I have to talk to people all day. And the Sox is the easiest thing to talk about, surprisingly. Sports in general is the easiest thing to talk about with people. And, they'd come up to me and be like, dang, how about these Sox? And I'm just like sitting there like, I have to respond in a casual manner because it's always, casual people. I'm like, I don't know, maybe we'll get some prospects. They're like, well, let's hope so. So we get that number 1 draft pick. And I'm always like, they'll figure it out. I'm like, yeah. I was like, I won't ruin their day. But like, so a lot of the casual White Sox fandom, people still going to games on a Tuesday night with their friends. My parents who go to the bar and sit down and watch the game. when it's on. I think they're not too wavered. I think they are just involved and just not involved to keep watching and are just like, well, that's our team. So whenever they decide to get it together, they'll get it together. Can't really do anything about it. For the people like that we know and all the fans like that you see, especially every day on Twitter, I have not touched Facebook and I don't have any interest in touching Facebook, but I imagine it's probably the same over there.
You have
TikTok even.
no idea.
Oh, I know. I've heard rumblings and I'm just gonna save myself the trouble and stay in my lane where I could, probably be a little bit more fun with it. I feel like Facebook, I will not have fun. I've heard horror stories.
I don't think they get your humor, no offense, because
Yeah.
it's like when I post something on the Southside Showdown Facebook page, it's one of the few of the sites that I've site expert for, like where they're still engaged. And some of the comments, I'm like, good Lord, are you taking everything literally? Like, it's like those people where you're like, this is where the misinformation of America is happening. Like people are taking this as Bible, or they're looking at this and it's like, look, we're just creating content here. And some of this is opinions, and it's opinion. It's not Bible.
Yeah. That's what I feel about that. Yeah. That's straight up Facebook in a nutshell. And I hear a lot of fan bases have that. Like the people I follow on Twitter that will post like stuff from their Facebook pages, I'm like, okay, so it's just the Facebook people that are a little out of it. I was like, because I think it's just that whole whoever uses Facebook now, all are like that. And so God bless them, because I don't know how they're that wound up 24/7, because you gotta find a way to enjoy yourself, even if that means having a laugh about the losing streak. It's depressing. Oh yeah, it hurts. Last night being like 14, but I was like, the hell, 14? That's crazy. That's ridiculous. What am I gonna do? I'm probably gonna laugh about it and be like, this is the worst team in baseball. Are you not embarrassed? Use it as a point instead of, just getting so wound up about it. I think, I think the casuals are pretty cool. I think they're just, this is the team, kind of like having the Bulls. Everyone's like, Bulls suck, but that's my team. Who else am I going to root for? I feel like a lot of Sox fans are so diehard they don't see that option to go to the Cubs, which I don't know if anyone wants to. And then I think the very chronically online people are those like the Facebook people who they sit on every word and they don't try and interpret it. They just take it at face value. They'll fight over different stats, or they won't even fight over stats. They'll just be like, from what I've seen. And then you're like, is that a fact? I think just people that are too inside their heads. And I think there's like the middle ground. I think a lot of who we associate with kind of the middle ground, where we're serious about how bad we want this team to get fixed and what we should do, and, genuinely wanting to get better. And then there's also that we're like, but we can't take everything so seriously because it will tear us apart. Like those very chronically mad and online people. If we take everything so seriously, so to heart, and let it stir in us, we're all just going to be mad all the time. So I think there's definitely a middle ground of people who kind of have it figured out, but there is definitely the spectrum of crazy online and mad in themselves, and then just the casuals who are like, oh, whatever, they'll be good when they're good. So, yeah.
How would you describe, again, for that middle ground, for somebody that has basically left X, formerly Twitter, that like, how would you describe it? Because it's one of the reasons why I'm still here is I love that middle ground group. That, like, for example, what you do, a lot of people that we might mention, I don't want to make it sound too insidey. So some people that are listening to this be like, it sounds like they're in an inside secret group. Like, how would you how would you describe that middle ground on the White Sox social media world?
Yeah, I would say we're all that middle group, and it's not just people, it's not like just podcasters, and there's a lot of just users who have no relation to a podcast organization that I can't even list right now, but everyone just knows where there's that little sphere. And I think we all genuinely love the team, And so there's always a sentimental piece to all of us, why it is just naturally that we are just going to talk about it and we are going to care. I think there's a lot of, everyone has that critical thinking and that in between. I think we're very knowledgeable in that aspect. Yeah, I'm not even, I would say just like we're all very easygoing. Maybe that's more so we're easy to get along with, all of us, even though we have our disagreements. I think you will find another person in the middle that agrees with you, so you don't feel like you're alone.
All right, that wraps up this edition of Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen today. Now go check out the Locked On MLB podcast. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day. And you can find the link to Locked On MLB in the description, so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And just remember, I'm still on vacation, so the fan series continues with Ozzie Guillen Jr., who will discuss growing up around the Chicago White Sox tomorrow. So feel free to leave comments today about my interview with Missy Carroll. You can leave them at the episode page on YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, at Todd J. Dub or at Locked On Sox, or email me at LockedOnWhiteSox@gmail.com. Have a great day. The fan series continues tomorrow.